All right, here we go. We have X-Rated on the phone. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm well, man. Thank you for asking. So far, so good. How are you, by the way?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. So, where are you right now, physically?
I'm physically located. I'm housed at R.J. Donovan on a new facility. It's called it's Echo Facility, E-Yard. It's a level 2 general population yard. It's like the first. It's the model for the new so-called CDCR. You know, where rehabilitation is the new mission. And so I'm at this place where I have these opportunities to go to substance abuse treatment programming and different self-help groups. You know, right now I'm training dogs in the Pooch program. They got NAAA, victim awareness groups, things like that. So this is like the first of its kind, and because it's succeeding, the rest of the state is following along. So I'm here taking advantage of that while I finish this time out.
Gotcha. And how long have you been locked up so far?
Man, I've actually been in the Department of Corrections since 1996, since August 14th. And then before that, I fought the case for 4 years in the county jail. So we're pushing 26 years total county time come March 19th.
26 years. And you're how old right now?
I'm 43 right now.
So you've actually been locked up longer than you've been free.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah,
and I just lived more than I've been free. I've been locked up longer than I was alive free.
Yeah. Because you were. Well, let's go ahead and get into the whole story of why you are where you are right now. So you grew up in Sacramento. You grew up in the Sacramento area, right?
Yeah, I was born there, born in Methodist Hospital on July 30th in Sacramento.
Okay. And during that time, this was, around the time of the incident, this was the early 90s. What was really going on in the Sacramento area in terms of gangs and sort of the migration from LA and so forth?
Well, it was warfare. I wouldn't say at that point I wouldn't say a migration from LA so much. By then, the migration technically for people that's really knowledgeable about gang, history in Sacramento, that had happened in the late 70s, early 80s. Once crack really kicked off the Reagan era, that's when that really occurred. So this is much later. It's almost a ramification, but not so much as like the midst of that migration. So we still had that element in our environment, but at this point it was just full-blown, Garden Block was what it was, and it was a self-sustaining entity. There wasn't an outside gang from a different place that was sustaining it or even involved in it. If anything, they were more met with hostility.
Okay, so during that time, what was your affiliation?
I was representing Southside, 24th Street, Garden Block, Crips, Sacramento. And that was all I cared about, period. Didn't nothing matter more than that. Family, friends, nothing. Music, nothing was more important than that. And that's in the area known as the Gardens in South Sacramento, the Meadowview Gardens or Carilla Gardens. And I'm from the Deep South area, so it's like Meadowview Road, 24th Street, literally the 2400 block of Meadowview.
And why did you initially join the Crips? Because you were fairly young when you initially joined, right?
Yeah, but my family, I got family. My mom's first cousins, they're my second cousins, but nobody cared about designations, right? So it's just family. But, my older cousin, Artie Barnes, they call him AJ from 24th Street, and George Lee Campbell, they call him G-Man from 29th Street, and then my cousin Vamp Dog, Jimmy Broadneck on 24th Street, and then, you got Lil Bruce. So I got all these family members who, this is what they represented, and then I got, older aunt cousins who were, they said, because all my life, that was all I heard. I didn't even know what that meant at the time, that Caddy and Simp and people like that on that side of my family spoke that way. So this was really organic. I remember the first time I ever got into it with Bloods, it was over saying I got fouled during a basketball game in Oak Park while I was visiting an aunt. I'm playing at the park, and I just said, damn, cuz, you quit fouling me, and I got jumped. Because I didn't even know I shouldn't have said that to them. You know what I mean? So, in terms of the choices I made, this is just the way it was. That's who I was around. That was my family. I was of that affiliation before there was a decision to be made about what my affiliation was actually being put on the set. Because there's a difference between a gang member and a gang banger. You know, you could be a member of it.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Members are affiliated or hanging out, but bangers are actively pursuing rivals, actively engaging in criminal activity and warfare on behalf of their set, and that's what. So at the point where I became a gang banger would have been the summer in '90. I started banging in '90.
So what was going on between the 24th Street Garden Block Crips and Meadowview Bloods during that time?
Warfare, gang banging, like real life warfare. Straight up, and I mean, there's a lot of family ties because these streets are so close. You know, you could be on 24th Street. Like, I could jump a fence from 24th Street and land in somebody's backyard, walk through their back door, out their front door, and be standing on 23rd. Like, you could stand on a fence and hold a gun over the fence and shoot at the Crip if you were a Blood. It was that close. So that had, for better and for worse. So some of these relationships get complicated because there's family. The Wormleys are my family. You got legendary Meadowview Bloods that are Wormleys. And then you have, like, the Your family. You know, you got legendary figures that are yours from Meadowview that are related to the Thomases. You know what I mean? Young Meek being the brother of Sebo. Like, you have these complications. So when it gets tricky when there was warfare, you know. And back then, the wrong individual got killed, and it started a lot of things that included my ending up in prison. One individual, really, that was shot started a war that ended up in, you know, a body drops on that side, that causes the body to drop on this side, body drops on that side. And that kept going back and forth for about, really, decades now. But at my period of time, it was about a 6 or 7 year period where back and forth warfare with gunplay.
Okay, because I guess before the incident, 2 members from your set got killed?
Yeah, man. Yeah. There's a lot of complications about that stuff. You know,
Okay.
They say Gangsta Red. Like, Gangsta Red was not killed by Bloods. You know what I mean? That's not a secret. So that's just something that people ran with in the media, and I never had nothing to say about it. I personally, even now, you know what I mean? Some of that stuff that's people's business. That's their business. But we could just say that didn't have nothing to do with my case, and that was a media thing because that never entered a courtroom for us. That was the person who started informing the detectives about what happened in our case didn't really know what he was talking about. So he threw a lot of things out there, and that's one of the ones that stuck in the media. But Jerome McCoy is, we call him Big J-Dog. He rests in peace. He was killed. He's a legendary figure from 24th Street, and he's also the cousin of my nephews and my niece. Well, actually, my 2 nephews. In his relation to the Starkey family. So, you know, that was a personal thing for me when Jerome died because he was the closest person to me from 24th Street at this time, Jerome and Big Slim Dog at the time when I was they put me on the set. Like, that's who I had to fight to get put on the set. So when he died, that was traumatic for me personally. I can't speak for nobody else, but for me, that was a significant trigger.